All right, ladies and gentlemen, you got Flying Solo back with you. And if you didn't see episode 0, here's a recap. We are playing as Hagren of Clan Asden from the land of Valone, which was overrun by monsters. Hagren jumped on a boat with a few others and sailed towards the only other continent that they were aware of, which is called Manarvin. And they were subdued by extreme weather. The boat was sunk. Hagren is apparently the only survivor. On the way in, the swim in, he lost his brother's sword and his armor, which he had to take off to swim to the shore here. And now he has landed, and he has found another sword in the wreckage. He also found a bag, a torch, and 2 gold coins. So just as a kind of a rundown of what's exactly going to happen here, as I'm not 100% sure, I wanted to do a hex crawl, like a completely randomized world. Everything's randomized. We don't know anything that's going to happen, who we're going to meet, or what's what. So we're going to discover everything together. Now, I don't know how this is going to hold up. We're going to try it. I don't know if it's going to be slow or boring or whatever, but I'm flexible on changing the system. There's a couple of course, I'm using the Mythic Game Master emulator for most of our Oracle questions, and I'm using Perilous Wilds, combination of Perilous Wilds, DM Companion, Sandbox Companion, and some other things. I'm not sure. I'm new to solo role-playing. I'm not sure exactly what is going to work for us, but we are going to try things, maybe adding things or removing things until we get exactly what we want to do. We have Hagren. He's landed. He looked onto the shore. He saw some creatures, but they just turned out to be crabs. So there was some crabs and some birds, so sign of life. Maybe something for him to eat. And we are going to start exploring now. This is a low magic, low fantasy game. It is possible to run into other races and wizards, but they're not going to be prevalent. This is more of a kind of Hyperborean kind of adventure, low magic, and it's about survival. Hagren has to eat every day, otherwise he's going to suffer fatigue. So we're going to take into account for weather. We've rolled that already in the last session, and the day is hot. It is the first month of summer, so whatever the equivalent of this land is to January. No, the first month of summer, anyway. And so we rolled up that the first thing that he stepped on was going to be plains. So this is how I'm going to play it. We're going to ask the Oracle if every tile that we step on is plains. And it's either going to be plains or forest, with a very small chance of it being something else, like swamp or desert or something that wouldn't really fit, until we change our land type. So this is the Atlas of Manarvin here. So we're going to mark plains as orange. Here's the ocean that we came from. So this is where we are exploring now. This is plains. So we're going to mark this as 1. So we region C1. And that's the Atlas location here is C1. So this is basically this zoomed in. So here is where we are. And we're going to mark all of our hexes here. So this is going to be where we are starting, coming in here. This is the plains. So this is zoomed in. So all of these tiles is this 1 square. Now every hex here is 6 miles. Hagren can travel between 18 and 24 miles per day, depending on how much he wants to push himself. Through plains, he can travel just the 6 miles, that's okay. But through things like a dense forest, swamp, or mountain, he may be able to only travel that 6 miles in twice the time. So like if he was moving plains, he could travel 4 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 24 miles at a full speed. But say there was like a forest here, this would be like he traveled through the plains, and then it would take him 12 miles equivalent to travel through the forest, depending on how heavy the terrain is. So that's how we're going to do our movement. So here is... Okay, now we need this sheet. Now, he steps onto the plains, and we are going to... We're playing Savageworlds, so we are going to pop open our deck of playing cards. This is the only playing card deck I could find that was unopened, with the Jokers intact, so it is... You shitting me, Clark? Merry Christmas. I think my parents sent this to me for Christmas last year. I'm going to open this deck of playing cards, and then we're going to go through how exactly we're going to deal with random encounters. So I will be right back. We have our Christmas Vacation Savage Worlds cards ready to go. So I just wanted to say I've taken the Savage World gold costs and reduced them by like whatever 90%. So like if a sword cost 200 gold, now it costs 20 gold, you know? If a goblin was carrying 40 gold coins, now he's carrying 4 gold coins. And a room at the inn and a meal is going to cost 1 gold coin. And he has 2 gold coins on him. I just think it's ridiculous that characters would carry around thousands of gold. I mean, it's easier for bookkeeping. So yeah, if you're a Savage World, that's what we're doing. So what we're going to do, our first square was a plains. We are here. And we're going to draw a card off the deck, and every face card is going to be some kind of discovery, which your Perilous Wilds is going to roll off. So it's the Joker. Okay, I'm going to treat that as, I don't know what, wow. Joker is very good in Savage Worlds, so we're going to reshuffle that. I don't know what that would entail in the discovery phase. I suppose I'd be able to get back a Benny and have some kind of rest or something, but we're at the beginning of our quest here, so, you know, Hagren, he wipes the sweat off his brow because it is a hot summer's day. And he says, Hurston, I wish you were here with me now. That's his brother who was killed. And he makes a discovery, so we're going to roll a d12. I have this awesome metal set my wife bought me, but you can't see it. These cheap, crappy green ones are more eye-popping. Look at that. See? That's a 6. So there is evidence of something quite interesting. Let's check. So he walks, he notices something on the ground. So these are plains. I'm going to treat it as a kind of grassland. There's going to be brush and bushes and stuff. It's not just like a empty wheat field or something. So he want to go roll d12 again. 8 remains. And one more time. 9. A site of violence. Wow. Okay. So he gets off. There's a beautiful beach behind him, and now he looks around. He finds some. There's some blood on the ground, and there's a body. So we found remains. Is this a human body? I'm just gonna go with 50-50 on the fate chart. As our chaos level is 5. 88. No, it is not human. So it's some kind of beast, I suppose. Well, let's roll on and see what exactly we have here. So, sorry, I'm flipping through the Perilous Wilds book. This is a fantastic book. You're going to have to bear with me while I kind of learn where all the tables I'm using are. There's a lot going on here. So, we'll roll on the creatures list. It is 4 beast. So, 3 earthbound and 6 a boar or a pig. Okay, so there's a dead boar on the ground. I guess, is there a spear in it or something? How fresh is this? Has this just been, so Hagren has a survivalist. So let's make a survival check. So how checks work in Savage Worlds? Oh, excuse me. How checks work in Savage Worlds? We're going to roll we're going to roll our skill, and his, he actually doesn't have survival. Oh, he does. He has D4. And because we're a wild card, we have a D6 as well. We get to add to that. And any 4 is a success. So we got a 4 on the D4. That is a explosion. So we get to roll it again. And another 4. So that's an explosion. We get to roll it again. And a 3. So he rolls 11, which for every 4 you go above the difficulty, which is normal, which was 4, we get a raise. So we got 11, so we got 1 raise for 8. The next raise would have been at 12. So what a raise is basically anything that you want it to be. So for instance, he's investigating this boar, and he wants to know how fresh this kill is, or kind of what's going on with this boar. And now, because we got a raise, he's going to be able to know anything that he wants to know about it. So first, was this killed by a monster? That is a 10. So that is an extreme result, which, like the raise, is up to the interpretation of the dungeon master, which is moi. So not only was it killed by a monster, it's killed by a monster very recently. So it's a very fresh kill. So he looks down at the boar and he can see there's big bites taken out of it. And So can I identify, do I know what kind of monster would have killed this? At 25, I do. I know what kind of beast it was that killed this, or monster. I said monster, so let's roll. That's a 5. An unusual. We'll roll again, d12. A plant. An unusual plant. Well, I don't think that I could have that to kill a... Hold on. Hold on, I need a monster table here. Affairs in order here. I'm going to try this Perilous Wilds. There are some... I didn't realize that, you know, hobgoblins and goblins and kobolds and stuff weren't going to be in monsters, so I guess that's possible. And there are some things like plant fungus that I don't know. I don't know about that. Let's see, anyway, what we get. Perhaps we'll replace plants and fungus with goblins and kobolds and orcs. Let's roll on this table first, though. So we have 7. It is unusual. And we have a 10. It is a beast with an ability. Okay, so something, let's see here. 8, that's airborne. And 6, so a water bird. So a giant airborne bird with an ability. And that will be, he has the ability to entangle, trap, and snare. So... let's see if we have... Well, let's see if we have... So I look around. Can I see... Do I see the bird? I'm going to say that's very likely as this kill is very fresh. So, 75 with 20. Yes, we do see the bird. Is there anything that I could feasibly hide behind while I think about what to do here? Oh, geez. Hagren looks up to the sky. He looks down at the boar. Then he looks up at the sky. And he looks and he glances at this giant bird. And his eyes open wide. He says, "Gods, what is this?" And then he looks around for somewhere that he could hide before the bird can spot him. He does not, so we have 50-50, so there's nowhere to hide. So is the bird aggressive? I'm going to say that that is nearly certain. He's going to come down for a little bit of... we had our lunch here, some pork, and now we're going to have some dessert. He does, so... Yeah, we're gonna, hold on, let's switch the scene here. I don't think I have a miniature that I could use as a bird. Oh, yeah, okay, kind of do. Okay, pretend this is not a dragon. This is just a large water bird. We rolled a water bird right on the beach. You know, sometimes when you're doing solo role-playing, this, it just works out. Okay, so this is gonna be our battle board. And we are going to come up with some stuff. So I said there was nowhere that he could feasibly hide. Doesn't mean there's not any kind of cover or anything. So let's say here. So that'll be difficult terrain. You have to jump over it. A couple of shrubs. Just decorated. I mean, this guy's flying. So there's us. There's the bird. It's flying overhead. Let's see how many feet in the air is it. Let's roll a d20. 1. So he's, yeah, okay. he's coming down on us right now. But we're going to have to generate, before we do anything with this, we're going to have to generate some stats for a giant bird. So let's pull up our Savageworlds monster finder, and we're going to, I don't know what's going to come up. We're going to type in giant bird and just see what happens here, what we can find. Epic. Okay, nope. Well, we're going to have to find something equivalent. We're novice. I mean, this might be... I wish you could... Avorals are birdmen with hands on the ends of their wings. These are angels? What the? Arrowhawk. Oh, but it's seasoned. Axebeak novice. Okay, this is an axebeak. We're just using stats. We don't know what it is. It's just a giant bird. So, yeah, he's got a D10 agility, D6 smarts, spirit strength. He can fight. And he has the ability to trap. So, that's what we rolled up. So he has something that he can shoot, like some kind of sticky substance that can trap you. So let's deal us and him. What does he have for hit points here? Let's see what we're dealing with. So he's got +1 armor, 5 parry, 10 toughness. So he's going to be very hard to wound. Oh boy, this is going to be a tough fight. Yep. He's 9 feet tall, so he's bigger than us. We're about 7 feet. Okay. And he's pace 10, so he's very fast. This is a novice encounter, my lord. So we're going to give us a card first. We have a 7, and he has a jack. So he is going to go first. Okay. Now, if you've never played Savage World before, it's initiative. Higher goes first. So the bird is swooping in on us, and there's not much that we're going to be able to do about it now. So if this is your first time watching Savage Worlds, great, welcome. Great game. Let's do some combat here. So he is going to... he swoops right in on us, and Hagrid kind of puts a sword in both hands. He says, "Back, beast!" But that's not going to stop the bird. He comes in claws first. Is he going to use his trap attack? He is, so he's going to try and get us with the trap attack. And that is going to be a power. So he's going to have to roll his power here. Is he a wild... Is this thing a wild card? No, he's just a novice. Like, 1 wound should be enough to kill him. Well, let's make it... Let's say it's nearly impossible that he's a wild card. No, he's not. So he's going to roll his power. And he does. He succeeds. So he hits us with the D8 plus D6. Now, I am very new to Savage World, so if there's... I'm going to just wing in this. If there's anything that I'm doing wrong, please tell me. So, yeah, he's trying to force his way out of the glue trap here. He does. He's got a 5, so I puff. And he says, "Nice move, bird." And the bird is flying around. We're going to go to the second round of combat here. Perhaps, so this is for us and for the bird. Okay, we have a jack. He has a 2. And Hagrid says, "Prepare to meet my blade." And he swings. The bird has come right next to us. The bird's a little surprised that we were able to break out of the trap. The boar was not so easily. So I guess that's what he does. He shoots at your feet or whatever you use to move around, traps you there, and then flies around the head and swoops in for a kill. But as he swoops in this time, Hagrid is free, and he takes a step forward, and he swings his sword at the bird. So we are going to use our fighting roll. Our fighting is a D8, so we get a D8 plus a D6. And that is going to be against the bird's parry skill, which is 5. So we need to beat a 5. Let's do this. A 7. So we do beat the 5. So that's not a raise. If we were to get... now, I've said every time we go 4 over the target, we get a raise. So if we were to get a 9, we'd get an extra D6 damage. But we did not. So we just get to roll our sword's damage, which is our strength plus a D8. And we need to reach an 11. And our strength is a D8, so that's 2 D8s. So it's a pretty good chance that we could get it here. Do I have another colored D8? I don't, so to roll my black metal dice. Fine, I'll just tell you what it is. We need to reach an 11 here. We have a 6 and a 3. That's a 9. So we were not enough to wound him, but we do hit him. So we hit him in the wing, and Hagrid's a little surprised. He says, "Meet my blade," and he swings, hits him in the wing, but I guess this bird's a little more thick and armored than Hagrid has thought he would be, because it doesn't seem to puncture him, but the bird kind of does a little spin around as he's knocked off balance, so he is shaken. So we go to the bird's turn, and he's not going to be able to take an action because he's shaken, but he does have a chance to shake off that shaken. And I believe that is a spirit roll. Let me double check that. This is like I said, I'm new. So you're going to have to bear with me for a couple of things here. Maybe I'll edit this out. So shaken characters are nicked, bruised, or otherwise rattled. They may only take free actions, such as moving, so he could move. At the start of their turn, shaken characters must attempt to recover by making a spirit roll. This is a free action, so he needs a 4. And the monster's spirit is a D6. So he makes his roll, and he gets out of being shaken. So he spins around, but he rights himself, and he comes back in again. "Ah!" Hagrid says. He raises his sword to defend himself. He's not wearing any armor. So this time the bird is not going to go for his trap attack. He is going to go for a bite, which is going to be D6 is his fighting skill. So he needs to hit. Our parry skill is 6. So we are going to be very hard for him to hit. Since he is not a wild card, he only gets this D6. He comes to bite, he misses. And then now we line up our shot, and we are going to try and get him again. So we swing our sword down at his head. We're not making a called shot. This is just for dramatic. Although called shots can be pretty important anyway. We go and bring the sword down on his head. That is going to be a D8 plus the D6. So this is our fighting skill. And we are looking for a 5, which is his parry. And we have a 6, so we break his parry. This is 2 D8s again. And we need to get an 11 to defeat this bird. Okay, 7, not even close. So again, we're going to draw initiative. So for us, a 9. For the bird, a 9. So we're tied, and I believe that is going to go to the suits, and clubs is last. So the bird will go again. So he is going to back up here and get a charge at us. He swoops in again. Maybe this bird should think something else. Think of doing something else, as he has only his d6 on this roll, and he needs to get a 6. We're very hard to hit in melee combat. He gets a 5. So we roll again our d8 and d6. This time trying to pierce him. 5 is going to be enough to break his parry. We need to get that 11. Come on, baby. That is a 13. So the swinging at the head, he missed, but he pierced right through the heart. And the bird drops down. And Hagren puts his blade down and he kneels over and he says, that's well fought, my friend. Yes, nice to have someone initiate this blade. And he kind of strokes the bird, turns him over, looks at his wound. He says, it is a good, clean death, as the light comes out of the bird's eyes. He says, you will be remembered. Yes. And Hagren, he searches the body, but there's not going to be anything on this bird. Pieces of boar that were clawed out of the flesh. But Hagren could light a fire, but I mean, and cook some of this thing, or the boar. But yeah, we're probably just gonna move on. So we have defeated this giant bird in combat. Please post if I've done anything wrong in that combat. But okay, so we're going to move on. We were here. And then Hagren kind of mutters himself off. Wherever I go, danger is following. What is next, he says. I'm hungry. I'm tired. And now my arms are sore. Please, let me find some place to camp. And then he says, but so much daylight. We cannot sleep yet. And he moves to the next hex. So we are going to go back to our hex generator here. There we are. And we're going to just head, okay, so these are the ocean tiles behind us here. So we're just going to head north. So we are going to ask the Oracle. Like I said, it was a 75% chance that it was going to be more plains and a 25% chance that it would be forest for this whole region. This whole region is going to be predominant terrain is plains / forest. Okay. So we're going to ask the Oracle. Is it more plains straight ahead? Where the... Can't trust myself sometimes. 0.5, that is an extreme yes. So that means, because we got an extreme yes, yes, it is plains, but there is going to be an interesting feature here. Extreme no would have been something totally different, like a swamp or a desert. But because we got an extreme yes, it is going to be plains with an interesting feature. How? What is an interesting feature? Well, we're just going to see. We're going to ask the Perilous Wilds, and then we're going to use our imagination here. So we come across something dramatic, something interesting, something where I had the page marked, but I lost it. Lord Almighty. Oh, here we go. Nope, that's not it. Here we go. We're coming up on it. We're coming up on it any second now. There we go. Okay, so random region, random place. Random place. It's going to be a place. Okay, so let's take a look here at the naming convention. We're going to roll a d12. So it is 11. The adjective noun. Okay, so 62. Lost. 27. Eye. The lost eye. Okay, cool. So we come across a plains region called the Lost Eye. Now, we don't know that it's called the Lost Eye. Our character's never been here before. But say somebody else, we went to an inn and we described this place, they'd be like, oh yeah, that'd be the Lost Eye. So it sounds to me like it's some kind of mountain or rock face that is shaped like an eye, I'll say that's very likely. And that is exactly what it is. So it is in the plains, but there's going to be... There it is. There's the lost eye right there. Is it a cave? Actually, now that I'm looking at that. 50-50? 42. It's a cave. Okay. The lost eye. Wow, he comes across and he looks at it. And yeah, it's a cave in the middle of nowhere. It goes straight down, but there's some kind of light that comes up, some kind of unnatural light that comes up from the middle. So when you come across it at night, it looks like an eye. So he comes across and says, all right, what is this now? So we're going to mark that here. I'm going to just make a little eye. And key location, miscellaneous, the lost eye. Now this could be some kind of dungeon or something. It's going to be big, no doubt. I mean, it's named, so it's got to be. Is this a dungeon? I'll say that's very likely. 62, yes, it is some kind of dungeon. So is there anything around it? So there's going to be a pretty good chance of us getting, like, ambushed by a mob. Well, let's draw the card. No face card, so no encounter here. So right now we know that there is a dungeon here. Now we could go in. I mean, we could go in right now. And we could create this dungeon. We could have an adventure. We could see what it is. But gosh, this guy is just tired. I mean, come on. Let's keep on trekking here. So this is 12 miles traveled. You could travel 1 or 2 more squares, depending on what it is. If it's plains, 2 more. So he's just going to keep heading north until we find something. Is this a plains? 75%. Nearly so. Very likely. All right. If you can see, maybe I'll bring the oracle down here so you can see exactly what we're looking at. Yeah. Okay. For now. So very likely. 65% that it is. Well, 75%. Yes, it is more plains. So we're going to draw and see if there's some kind of encounter. So that is 1 more here. There is no encounter, so we will keep heading north. Try 1 more time. Very likely that it is more plains. 50, so exactly on 50, and that is more plains, and we are going to draw. Keep heading up here, and we are going to draw a card, a jack. So there is some kind of encounter here as well. So this is going to be the last square we travel to today, as it is now coming up on nighttime, and Hagren is getting quite tired. He has nothing to eat. Maybe I should have cut off a piece of that boar and put it in my bag, huh? Although he can survive a day without getting fatigued, so he'll be okay. He also has survival, so in the morning we will hunt. But we have something here. So, I mean, it could be a city, it could be a town, it could be a wizard that casts fireball on us and melts our face. Let's just see. Unnatural. Oh, yeah, we got to roll. Let's roll. Roll her up here. It is a 9. So that is... Oh, it is a structure. Okay, this could be something that we're looking for. A 10. It is a... Oh, it is a ruin. Uh-oh. So that's going to be like another dungeon, right? Okay, let's roll again. An 11. A dungeon. Okay, is this... So there's a... You come up here and there's another dungeon entrance. My. So that is going to be on this one. Okay, so... 1, 2... I don't know the marking for a dungeon, but we'll just put it, 2, dungeon. And it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. But we can't go in. I mean, we can come back. Like, that's the thing. Page 60, 61. Let's see exactly what we're dealing with. Here. 12. It is huge. It is a huge dungeon. Is the Lost Eye a part of this dungeon? I'm going to say that that's nearly certain since the dungeon is huge. Yes, it is. So this is part of This is another entrance here, which is connected to the Lost Eye here. We want to do this. Okay, so here is the Lost Eye, and here is the dungeon entrance here. So, a huge dungeon. There was something else that we can learn about this dungeon as well. If I didn't, yeah, there we go. So, 7. Overrun by monsters. That's what happened to this place. 6. It was built by humans. I don't know if I would know this information. Maybe if I investigated it. 7. It's a lair. So it is a lair that's overrun by monsters. So it was maybe perhaps built by humans for something to live in, like a dragon or something. And that was a long time ago, and now it's been overrun by monsters. So it is huge and overrun. And it is infestation, and it's infested. Okay, so no need to yeah. So we're gonna leave that for now. So he looks at it and he thinks about, yes, and this must be in part from that other entrance over there, yes. And he knocking around the ground, and he kind of listens into he's curious, and he kind of listens in. Can he hear anything? I'm going to say it's very unlikely that he actually hears something when he stupidly sticks his head into the dungeon hole. 80, yeah. So he can't hear anything. He can't see anything, but these are like stairs going down in the middle of the plains, and it's near the beach too. This is a strange place for a dungeon, but he says, okay, not today. Gosh, am I tired. I'd better find a safer place to camp. This is at a dungeon entrance, so this could be the most dangerous place. I mean, maybe he should walk all through the night and fatigue himself and just get away from this place, because I would say it's maybe not. I'd say it's likely that he has some kind of. Well, I think 50-50 is even a bad chance. So it's 50-50 that he would have some kind of an encounter here, but he's tired from fighting already. I don't want to camp here. So this is obviously this is over top of the dungeon too, this other tile. So maybe he should go left and try and get away from this thing. Do I walk through the night? I need a full day's rest to. I don't want a 50-50 chance of an encounter. Because that would end the. Oh, jeeps. I don't know. Can't sleep here, he says. Must push on. Oh, my bones are aching. And my arm. It's sore from fighting that damned bird. But we push on. He's going to turn left. He doesn't want to keep going straight because it's in his head now that this is part of the the dungeon. So he heads to this tile. Plains. A 9. So that's an extreme result. Again. So it's something else. He heads this way. It is a plains. And there's something else that's here. We're getting a lot of hits here, but what we need is a place to be, you know? So let's roll up. I guess it's like this, just all parts of this giant, dangerous dungeon region that he's uncovered here. This is probably part of the same dungeon. I mean, I'm going to say that's very likely. So let's see here. Our naming convention, 7. The something's place. So a noun is going to be 50. So this is the heads, 43. The head's hut. The head's hut. Okay, interesting. So the eye is down here, and this is the head. So this is going to be, it's called a hut. So this is going to be some kind of, I'm saying it's likely that this is some kind of dwelling. 65%. It is. So this is perhaps some kind of outpost that people... Oh, is this an out... Oh, I'm going to say this is very likely. This is an outpost that people use that are kind of like guarding the dungeon or watching the monsters for the dungeon. Very likely. 69. Yes. So yeah, okay. So this is the head's hut. Okay. So it's just I'm gonna put an H there. Okay, so here is the Lost Eye, and here is the dungeon entrance here. So, a huge dungeon. There was something else that we can learn about this dungeon as well. If I didn't... Yeah, there we go. So, 7. Overrun by monsters. That's what happened to this place. 6. It was built by humans. I don't know if I would know this information. Maybe if I investigated it. 7. It's a lair. So it is a lair that's overrun by monsters. So it was maybe perhaps built by humans to for something to live in, like a dragon or something. And that was a long time ago, and now it's been overrun by monsters. So it is huge and overrun. And it is infestation, and it's infested. Okay, so no need to yeah. So we're gonna leave that for now. So he looks at it and he thinks about, yes, and this must be in part from that other entrance over there, yes. And he knocking around the ground, and he kind of listens into he's curious, and he kind of listens in. Can he hear anything? I'm going to say it's very unlikely that he actually hears something when he stupidly sticks his head into the dungeon hole. 80, yeah. So he can't hear anything, he can't see anything, but these are like stairs going down in the middle of the plains, and it's near the beach too. This is a strange place for a dungeon, but he says, okay, not today. Gosh, am I tired. I'd better find a safer place to camp. This is at a dungeon entrance, so this could be the most dangerous place. I mean, maybe he should walk all through the night and fatigue himself and just get away from this place, because I would say it's maybe not. I'd say it's likely that he has some kind of... Well, I think 50-50 is even a bad chance. So it's 50-50 that he would have some kind of an encounter here, but he's tired from fighting already. I don't want to camp here. So this is obviously this is over top of the dungeon too, this other tile. So maybe he should go left and try and get away from this thing. So do I walk through the night? I need a full day's rest to... I don't want a 50-50 chance of an encounter. Because that would end the... Oh, jeeps. I don't know. Can't sleep here, he says. Must push on. Oh, my bones are aching. And my arm. It's sore from fighting that damned bird. But we push on. He's going to turn left. He doesn't want to keep going straight because it's in his head now that this is part of the... This is part of the dungeon. So he heads to this tile. Plains. A 9. So that's an extreme result. Again. So it's something else. He heads this way. It is a plains. And there's something else that's here. We're getting a lot of hits here. But what we need is a place to be, you know. So let's roll up. I guess it's like this, just all parts of this giant, dangerous dungeon region that he's uncovered here. This is probably part of the same dungeon. I mean, I'm going to say that's very likely. So let's see here. Our naming convention, 7. The something's place. So a noun is going to be 50. So this is the head's 43. The head's hut. The head's hut. Okay, interesting. So the eye is down here, and this is the head. So this is going to be, it's called a hut. So this is going to be some kind of, I'm saying it's likely that this is some kind of dwelling. 65%. It is. So this is perhaps some kind of outpost that people, oh, is this an out, oh, I'm going to say this is very likely. This is an outpost that people use that are kind of like guarding the dungeon or watching the monsters for the dungeon. Very likely. 69. Yes. So yeah, okay. So this is the head's hut. Okay. Okay. So a little better view of the worksheet here. There is the head's hut. There's the eye. And I guess this would be the body of the dungeon. Now this is a dwelling that sits on top of the surface. So this is, are there people here? Let's go 50-50. Let's go 50%. 88. No, this is empty. So we're going to write this. We're getting somewhere here. We almost encountered our first our first sign of life. We're going to put this in our adventure thread. I think. Maybe not. I mean, nothing's happened yet, really. So he comes across this dwelling and says, well, that's okay. And he enters. Climbs up the steps. Is the door locked here? 50-50? No. He just opens up the door, comes in. He uses a survival check to see if there's signs of people. Have people been here recently? He makes a successful check. So we're going to see, let's say 50, let's go 50-50. 57. So it doesn't look to him like people have been there recently. So this is how we're going to do this. He has made his check successfully. So this is what he thinks. And now we're going to roll. It's very unlikely, but have people actually been here recently? No. So nobody's been here recently. So he looks around. Is there food in here? I'm going to say that's unlikely. There is. So he looks around and there's a pantry. And a fire, I would say like a fire pit. I mean, a bed and a place to sleep, a place to cook food. So yeah, this is. He looks around. He puts his hands on his hips, and he looks around. He says, Hurston, this is as good a place to rest as any. Calling out to his brother. He's kind of talking to him because he's alone and he wants to avoid being crazy. Like me, I'm also alone playing this game by myself, but I put it on the internet so I don't seem crazy. Otherwise, I'm just standing here talking to myself for hours. Okay, he puts his hands on his hips. Hurston, let's have a rest, huh? And he looks outside and he thinks that this is pretty safe, and it's late. I mean, he did an extra travel, so I'm going to do a survival check to see if he can avoid being fatigued. I'm going to do it at -2. 6, that's exploding, so that's a pass. So yeah, because he's found this place and he only traveled a little bit extra distance, he's not going to be fatigued tomorrow. So he cooks up some of the food in the pantry. It would be hard rations, I guess, and maybe a piece of meat or two. There are boars around here, we know that. So he cooks up a fire and he sits down. He says, Hurston, how did we end up here? And he taps his new sword. He says, you, my friend, yes, you served me well today. You will be fine. And he takes it out and he looks for something that he could sharpen it with. Maybe goes outside and gets a rock and he sits by the fire waiting for his food to cook, sharpening his sword. And then he eats his dinner and he kind of sits in one of the cots and he says, well, let's see what tomorrow brings. And we're going to draw a card. 8. So he has a peaceful night inside the head. And he wakes up the next morning. So we will see you for day 2 the next time. Thank you so much for joining. So please, if you have any questions, comments, anything that could help me, anything that I'm doing wrong, I want to know. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. Or don't. It's your own life. I can't tell you what to do. So you got to make your own decisions. Thank you for joining me, and peace out.